Hey everybody, welcome back around to the Blog and Grill. I am your host Doug here with your video blog for March 23rd, 2015. I have a great blog planned for you today as we are going to be talking a little bit about Kevin Durant. We're also going to talk about NASCAR at Fontana, but the first thing I want to get to is the NCAA tournament, and we are now down to the final 16 teams that make up the Sweet 16 in this year's NCAA tournament. And really some surprising teams making it to this point so far. And I'm not going to say I'm completely surprised with some of these teams that made it. And I think it's going to be real interesting now that we move forward in this tournament how these teams will match up. So let's take a look at who is in the Sweet 16, and then we're going to start talking about some of these matchups. So I think the first interesting matchup has to be so we'll kick off our coverage on Thursday night at 7:15 with Notre Dame and Wichita State. Wichita State getting by Kansas, Notre Dame sneaking by Butler. I think this is going to be a good matchup. I think Van Fleet can match up with Demetrius Jackson pretty well. And I think Ron Baker has to be the X factor in this game. Is just this guy can just make shots. I think it's going to be I think it's a decent matchup for Wichita State, as they have a lot of guys that can knock down a jumper. They're going to have to contain Grant, and if they can contain Grant, I give them a legitimate shot to beat Notre Dame and move on to the Elite Eight. And in that Midwest region is Kentucky and West Virginia, and this is going to be an exciting game to watch for sure. Kentucky getting ready to take on a West Virginia team that has some decent size and some veteran guards. You think of Jawan Staten, Carter as well, a couple guys that can really score the ball for West Virginia. We'll see what they can do, but I think Kentucky will get by. So my pick right now is Kentucky and Wichita State going at it in the Elite Eight with a shot to go to Indy. And then on the other side of the bracket, I'm just going to break down two more games today, and then on Wednesday we'll touch on the other two, is Wisconsin and North Carolina. I think North Carolina has a legitimate shot with some good size to get by Wisconsin if they can slow down Frank the Tank. Bryce Johnson's been playing well for North Carolina, and if they can shut him down, I think North Carolina has a legitimate shot to possibly make a run to the Final Four. And then in the lower half of the bracket, Xavier and Arizona. I think Arizona could absolutely blow out Xavier. I think Arizona is a very good team, probably has the best starting five in college basketball. It's Stanley Johnson, Brandon Ashley, TJ McConnell. Just some really good players right there. So I'm going to take Arizona to advance out of this one, and I will also be I'm going to take Wisconsin, but I think North Carolina could do it. So that's going to be something to watch as well. Our other matchups that we'll touch on Wednesday are UCLA and Gonzaga, Duke, Utah, and then in the East Regional, we will have Oklahoma and Michigan State, and we'll have NC State and Louisville. So that's stuff we'll talk about on Wednesday. Let's talk a little NASCAR quickly here. NASCAR yesterday was at Fontana. Jeff Gordon really struggled to run well. He made a gutsy move late to not pit, but what it paid off for was Brad Keselowski coming through, getting the win, and putting himself in a good spot to get into the chase. Kevin Harvick probably had the best car, but once he got back in traffic, he really struggled. So now Harvick's won two. Logano, Keselowski, and Jimmy Johnson all have one win apiece. Jeff Gordon, we're keeping an eye on him this year because it's his final year, is up to 22nd in points, trying to get into that top 16. They will be heading to Martinsville next week, and that's going to be a good race to watch as well. All right, I just want to touch briefly on Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, of course, will be out likely for the remainder of the year with this foot injury. I think it's a good move by Sam Presti of the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think you're going to see Kevin Durant get traded. This is what I've heard. Durant likely to get traded because they think they're going to lose him in free agency anyways. So we'll see what happens with that. It's going to be a storyline to keep looking for, but I don't think Oklahoma City can win a series without Durant. I think Westbrook is playing well, Deion Waiters is playing well, Steven Adams is playing well, and Cantor's playing well, but they're not playing good enough to really make that next step with Durant. They would have had two legitimate scorers, but right now, I don't think this is a team that's going to make a run in the playoffs. We'll see what happens, but right now I'm saying Oklahoma City is going to struggle, and Kevin Durant could be on his way out in a trade. All right, I'll be back on Wednesday. We'll talk some more NCAA tournament. We'll also touch on some NFL free agency, and we'll start to talk a little bit about the NFL draft, as that is just a month away. Thank you for tuning into the Blog and Grill. You can check me out on sportsmindednews.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at YankeeBaller415. You can comment, question, subscribe to my page. Thanks for tuning into the Blog and Grill. I will see you back here on Wednesday. Have a good start to your week.